Welcome back, Knuckleheads. I'm Lupine Fiasco, and this is your daily FaB gameplay. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I'll talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now, compared to the line I took then at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the ongoing ProQuest Season 5 and, most importantly, walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the list I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link available in the video description below. While they're down there, if you have not already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord and shiny cardboard Talishar card back. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DFG video. You'll get bonus DFG content every week. There are even more benefits coming down the pipeline. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about our sideboard and about our game plan. Katsu remains a very difficult matchup for Kayo. There really is no way around it. Katsu is the king of the aggro mirror. Katsu blocking your attacks with combo pieces is just letting him advance his game plan while slowing yours down. Beating Katsu is a combination of luck, awkward draws from Katsu's end, some preparation because you need to know what that win looks like, but for the most part we need to chain disruption, we need to high roll with good Blood Rush Bellow turns, and we need Katsu to be slow enough that we can actually pull it off. I do believe that this is a matchup where we are significantly unfavored, and against Katsus who draw even marginally well and know how to play the deck, we should very rarely win, if ever. But we are going to try here. So we will sideboard for Katsu, which just involves putting in some disruptive pieces. That includes Humble. We are also cutting out non-blocks like Bare Fangs, and we are taking out Cast Bones. The card is just too slow to play against Katsu. If we get a hand that we would play out like pitch a blue for Mandible Claw, discard Mighty Windup to make 2 mites, play Cast Bones to generate more might and agility tokens, and then arsenal something like a Bare Fangs, all Katsu is seeing is that we turned 4 cards into 4 damage that he didn't have to block. And if he is set up enough that he has 5 cards with a stacked discard pile, he'll just kill us. He'll just combo us for 40. And we won't even get to use those might tokens. So we want to cut out the Cast Bones, and we want to apply more pressure with CNCs, Send Packings, Humbles, and try to generate agility through the clashes of agility that we just put in. For Katsu's part, he is trying to combo off on us with Surging Strike, either Gust Wave, Bonds of Ancestry, Dishonor if he can get there, but honestly, between Bonds of Ancestry and Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, he's just trying to put a triple or quadruple Bonds turn together and hit us for 30 to 40 damage. Whether there are on-hits in there or not, it really doesn't matter. The on-hit is we die. We are likely going to need to play mid-range to try and hold that off while we chip in damage. We would like that damage to be disruptive, but ultimately this is a race where we need him to draw and play worse than we do. So there isn't too much else to say about this matchup. Let's submit deck and see how it all shakes out. Having been put on the play, we are just going to discard Agile Windup. and pass the turn. We do not want to give Katsu the ability to cycle, to filter his hand. I would like to arsenal the Wild Ride here. That is going to let us play Blood Rush from hand with no risk of discarding our Wild Ride. Considering that Katsu has no graveyard, we are really not committed to blocking any of this. And considering that we have a 5-card Blood Rush with agility, this is all just damage. 100 wins? Sure, whatever. We'll take the damage. If Katsu has the combo line, 100 wins into 100 wins into Winds of Eternity, that's fine. We're going to take a bunch of damage. But we will get to crack back with more damage than Katsu dealt. We do see Katsu use the Katsu effect, grab Winds of Eternity, so we are signing up to take 4 points of damage here, but that's totally fine. None of this damage is disruptive. Very little of it is setting up for a big Bond's turn. Flusterfist in discard is problematic, as it does represent 4 more damage at some point from a Katsu effect, but we are still looking really good. We can use our agility to attack with Swing Big for 9 with Go again. We can then pitch our blue to attack with Mandible Claw, and finally come in with Wild Ride from Arsenal, pitching that Clash of Agility from our hand. So we do get our 3 chain links on a Blood Rush turn, quite a bit of damage. We are definitely winning the race, but Katsu is still in a position where he can really go over the top. Leading with the Wild Ride first is, I guess, fine. There is a slight chance that we discard a Blood Rush off the top and lose our action point, and considering that we are not looking to arsenal the card that we draw, really ever, because we want to get our Blood Rush value on our Mandible Claw, we are just setting ourselves up to lose value. So absolutely should have led with Mandible Claw instead of Wild Ride. Katsu banishing Bonds of Ancestry to play the Art of War is like massive for us. That does significantly lower the value of Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Unless Katsu is on more than 1 blue bonds, which seems unlikely, Katsu not being able to tutor bonds is a huge detriment to him. As far as blocking this Surging Strike, we are hoping to get lucky with Flesh Bag. I don't know that blocking this was correct. If Katsu has the Gust Wave follow-up naturally, then we're putting ourselves in a bad position because we don't want to have to block that. My thinking is that his Bonds is not going to be very good. He can Bonds out a Flusterfist and attack for another 5, but that's a lot better than the alternative. It's a lot better than him going off on us with double or triple Bonds. He just doesn't have the stacked discard for it. I think we could be okay to take the Surging Strike, maybe take all of his damage, and just look to get some value later. That said, we do want to play the Send Packing. We do want to arsenal. This Pack Hunt is fine. Maybe we could have blocked with the Pack Hunt and kept the Humble instead, as Humble is more detrimental to Katsu. Unless Pack Hunt is dealing lethal damage, Katsu doesn't care about it, but he does care about the Humble. So I would have liked to see Pack Hunt instead of Humble. It also sets us up to block the extra point of damage from Ancestral Empowerment. But if we do want to Flesh Bag Katsu on his 5-card Art of War turn, and I think that is a very good idea, then we also want to cover the rest of the damage so that Katsu doesn't get his tutor, and if we get lucky, we get his only Gust Wave from hand, and his turn might just end. So the only criticism of this block I would make is that we should have blocked with Pack Hunt instead of Humble. We send our Send Packing for 7, we arsenal our Humble, and we at least have some disruption for Katsu. Katsu just coming in with 100 wins is fine. We can take 4 here. See if Katsu wants to use his Katsu effect to potentially tutor out another Winds of Eternity. And that is the line. So signing up to take another 5 from Winds, that lets Katsu put red 100 Winds back into his deck. Very strong. And he is doing a good job at closing that life point difference. But we will be able to send packing for 8. Because of our flesh bag, Katsu is guaranteed to have an arsenal. So we are getting value here. And hitting a red bonds, really, really strong. We can see that if we had not blocked the surging, Katsu would have been able to find the gust wave to have a very big turn. So feeling okay about that line. Katsu breaking Heart and Cross Trap to attack with the Surging Strike is generally a good indication that he has the follow-up naturally. So we are either committing to blocking everything or nothing. So how we could block this is with 2 runners. We could choose not to block at all. See if I am going to check Katsu's graveyard here. I just want to know what he could tutor. I believe it is just Flusterfist. Yes, the only card that Bonds can find that really is troublesome is Flusterfist. It is 4 points of damage. We are signing up to take a lot of it. And the other thing about this hand is that we only have 1 action point, so we really just can't block very well. I think blocking for 6 here is fine. We will be able to block with our Assault and Battery and Scabskin Leathers to cover up a Gust Wave. Now this one is only blue, so blocking with Assault and Battery and hoping that Katsu doesn't have the Art of War or a Ancestral Empowerment feels fine. He would need to give us another card and Breaking Scales to get over the top 3 block. So I think that blocking here is okay. We could block with Humble and Bonebreaker or Humble and Leathers and pitch our blue to play Pack Hunt. If we do block with the blue, then we can use our Tunic and pitch Humble to play Pack Hunt. But blocking for 3 is potentially fine, although we are setting ourselves up to get blown out. Blocking for 4 with Scabskins and Humble, to me, seems a little better considering that we haven't seen Ancestral Empowerment. But we don't get punished for what I think is kind of a greedy block. And looks like Katsu's turn is pretty medium. We do just take 2 from the Kodachis and come in with Pack Hunt for 7. Notably, Humble for 7 would be a lot stronger here. Katsu would likely be priced into blocking it. Ancestral Harmony, hitting Ancestral Harmony is really nice for us. Spinning Wheel Kick is just damage, and our hand does not block well. We would like to be able to set up Mandible Claw, discard Wind Up, play Wild Ride, or even just lead with Wild Ride. Hope that we draw into something. But if Katsu's just going to throw a bunch of damage at us with no on hits, that's fine. We'll see what he wants to tutor for, if anything. Not breaking Pouncing Links yet. Just confirming that yes, Blue Bonds is in discard. Also just continuing to find 100 wins. Do we want to block this Kodachi or not? I don't think that we want to give up our Tunic to do it. We are now aware of Pouncing Links for Salt the Wound. We can always just put the scab skins in front of salt. We can also block here. I think this is fine. We are still leaving ourselves open to Wild Ride, pitch a blue, discard Agile Windup, and find another 2 for 6. 100 Winds here coming in for 6. This is going to connect. Katsu can break Pouncing Links to find Salt the Wound, which will come in for 5. Very likely going to just block with Agile Windup, as we don't want to get into Kodachi Lock. Being at 3 is a lot better than being at 1 against Katsu. So we'll just block with Agile Windup, go down to 2. And our turn is just going to be Wild Ride Claw. Coming in for 9, potentially putting Katsu down to 0 cards in hand, but if he draws well enough, we'll put him down to 1. That's still fine. We'll be able to block. We do have a number of evasive pieces in our deck. We have Pulpings, we have Swing Bigs that can go over the top. We are going to get another card from Katsu's hand here, at least one. And see what he has for us. We do still have blocking equipment available, and at this point with E-Strike Blood Rushes, the aggressive line is to play Blood Rush, pitch Blood Rush. The safer line is to E-Strike for 6, go again, Pulping, which at best just wins the game. At worst gets Katsu's hand. I don't know that I agree with this line. We are going to still come in for 12, but it is much less evasive. Katsu's just packing it in. The other line there would have been Claw for 6, get 2 cards from Katsu, E-Strike for 7, hopefully kill him. But we didn't even need to do it. We just got there. And doing quite a bit of, getting quite a bit of value per turn. That's sort of what I mean, that we drew much better than Katsu did, and we still almost died. And this Katsu didn't do anything particularly impressive or threatening. He didn't play a single bonds, much less double, triple, or quadruple. And it was still such a tight game. This really is an unfavorable matchup for us, and we need to draw really well to apply pressure that puts Katsu on the back foot, and we need Katsu to not draw very well. His first few turns were just 100 Winds lines that were in fact not putting threats, actively keeping threats out of his discard, and his later turns could never capitalize on having these big hands because we weren't disrupting him. Certainly pitching that Humble instead of arsenaling it was a big problem. Humble is a disruptive piece in this matchup, and we want more disruption, so that was definitely something we could have tightened up. But overall, we got really lucky, and we take those wins, but it isn't where I want to be in this matchup. Until we get Savage Sash, so that we have more block potential and can go bigger on our Blood Rush turns, I don't think there's much we can do for this matchup. If you have a lot of Katsus in your local meta, you'll probably want to play Amnesia instead of Humble. With Prism popularity on the rise, Amnesia is still very strong. Humble, definitely good against Prism, but Amnesia is definitely strong as well. It takes away her tutor ability, and is much, much better against Katsu than Humble is. So if Katsu is a threat where you live, definitely play Amnesia. Until we get Sash, and hopefully Sash will be enough to close some of the gap in the matchup. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. If so, be sure to assault and batter that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. Again, if you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It's free. It helps me out. But no matter what you do, I'll see you back here tomorrow for more daily FaB gameplay. And until then, take care.